Today there is important news from the Pokrovsk direction. Here, the Russians have just launched one of their largest and most disastrous assaults of the war, a desperate attempt to punch through Ukrainian lines and relieve their encircled forces. Their idea to catch the Ukrainians off guard failed, as Ukrainian units coordinated quickly to counter the threat. Geolocated footage from Ukrainian drones shows how they detected the first Russian motorcycle group speeding toward Volodymyrivka and immediately unleashed their FPV drones. Geolocated footage shows the drones diving on the riders as they tried to zigzag across the muddy road. Some lost control, skidded into ditches, and were blown apart seconds later. Within minutes, the narrow route became clogged with burning motorcycles, an inferno that blocked the rest of the column. Ukrainian artillerymen who had pre-marked the road then opened fire. Shell after shell landed amid the wrecks, annihilating the next waves of riders. The armored vehicles that followed slowed to avoid the chaos ahead as Ukrainian drones descended from above. The drones targeted the weakest spots of the armored personnel carriers, the tracks, wheels, and rear engine compartments, and one after another burst into flames. Infantry dismounted in panic, trying to find cover in the ruins of Volodymyrivka, only to be hunted down by more drones. Ukrainian operators dropped explosives directly into craters and foxholes, killing anyone still moving. Those who sought refuge in nearby structures were struck by heavy octocopters carrying large munitions. Other drones finished off the immobilized vehicles with precise strikes to ensure they couldn't be recovered later. The Russian assault involved 6 tanks, including 1 turtle tank, more than 40 armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles, over 40 motorcycles, and several hundred troops. Despite this unprecedented number of vehicles and soldiers, the scene quickly turned into another road of death. As the forward units disintegrated, vehicles at the rear tried to turn around, creating a massive jam that made them easy prey for artillery and more drones. Ukrainian reconnaissance confirmed that by nightfall, at least 3 Russian tanks, 16 armored vehicles, 41 motorcycles, and 2 additional cars had been destroyed. Preliminary reports counted more than 100 Russians dead and 50 wounded. Fighters from the Azov Brigade later reported that despite these losses, around 32 Russian infantrymen managed to dismount near Volodymyrivka, but 12 were killed almost instantly. The survivors hid in basements and debris, only for Ukrainian octocopters to drop heavy bombs on them through the night, and by dawn there was no more movement in the settlement to be found. This massive assault was part of the Russian command's desperate plan to open a supply route to their trapped forces near Dobropilya. Following the earlier detonation of the ammonia pipeline near Rusin Yar, Russian commanders hoped to exploit the resulting confusion and threat. The toxic ammonia gas moved westwards, exactly towards the Ukrainian ground line of communication, putting Ukrainian soldiers under great danger. However, in practice, this only meant Ukrainians could not quickly reinforce their presence in the town, while Ukrainian drone and artillery units remained unaffected and able to respond. In addition, the Russians assumed that the bad weather would prevent Ukrainians from using these drones. But as the footage shows, operators from several brigades and artillery crews coordinated perfectly and saved the day, turning the sky into a swarm of death for the Russian assault. Each unit complemented the others, and when a vehicle survived one strike, a second drone was already closing in. Overall, the Russian waves of assaults near Volodymyrivka will go down as one of their most catastrophic failures near Pokrovsk. Even after blowing up the pipeline in a reckless attempt to distract Ukrainian forces and poison them with an ammonia cloud, their massive push ended in destruction. The smoldering wrecks scattered across the fields testify to the futility of trying to overcome Ukrainian fortifications and drone dominance. With autumn rains turning the terrain into a swamp and Ukrainian engineers mining every approach, this may have been Russia's last major armored assault in this sector for the foreseeable future. Having lost dozens of vehicles and hundreds of troops, the Russians are now expected to revert once again to small-scale infantry infiltrations, sending poorly equipped soldiers to die where tanks and armor have already burned. If you are against the invasion of Ukraine and you want to support the work that I am doing, consider subscribing to our own independent news website. Here you can find our exclusive strategic insights, comprehensive overviews of all fronts, and regular tactical analysis videos. By subscribing, you will not only show your support for this channel, but also help and defend independent journalism. The link to our website is in the description. Thank you for watching this report, and I appreciate everyone who stepped up to join us.